Hi there, James here, and welcome to another one of my videos. Now, hope you're well, and today we're going to be looking at the major scale. What is the major scale? We've all heard of it, we've all played it, but what actually is it? And what do you need to use it for? Do you even need to know it? Little things like this is what we're going to be talking about. Now, the major scale and a lot more is all covered in detail in my book, Noble Music Theory for Guitarists. So I'm going to post a link to that underneath this video, because I would suggest if you're even slightly serious about learning some basic music theory, then check it out. It teaches you about 95% of the music theory that you will ever need to know. Things like which chords fit together if you want to make up songs, how to spot a key, basic intervals, what the major scale is, what is a basic chord, stuff like this. You can do an awful lot with the knowledge in here. So if you're sort of thinking that you need to get your music theory up to scratch a little bit, and you want to do it in a really easy to understand way, then I think this is the way to do it. Also comes with an audio book, so you can download that and listen to it on the go. Anyway, let's get back on to today's topic, the major scale. Now, if I play it, I'm sure you'll recognize the sound straight away. Sounds like this. And you may have even played that scale pattern at some point. But just knowing the pattern is a good start, but we need to understand a little bit more about what it actually is. And this is something that applies to all instruments. It's not just a guitar thing. If a saxophone player played a G major scale or something just like I played there, it would sound exactly the same. We're talking universal musical understanding here, which we use just to play so much music. Now, the major scale is really a formula or a recipe of 2 and 1 fret jumps. Now, let's just talk about a little bit of the terminology here. In music, we talk about the gap of a tone. And on the guitar, a tone is 2 frets. So if I had a note here and I went up a tone, I would move it up 2 frets. I just moved from here and I moved up a tone. A semitone is half of that. So I'm starting here and I'm going up 1 fret. Now, the major scale is simply a formula of tones and semitones. And as long as we play that, we're always going to get a major scale. If I mess around with it, we don't have a major scale anymore, so it has to stay the same. Now let me just show you this formula of tones and semitones so you can see how it works. So I'm going to start on a G here. I could start anywhere, but I'm going to start on a G. And all I'm going to do is play my first note there. The first note we would often call the root, or sometimes it's called the tonic, but we'll call it the root. Then we're going to go up a tone, so that's up 2 frets. Now I'm going to go up another tone. Now I'm going to go up a semitone, so that's 1 fret. Now up another tone, 1 more tone, and a semitone. And I'm back where I started. Let's go through that formula again, starting on the root, up a tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So the formula is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. And that is the recipe for a major scale. Now, I played it along 1 string, and there's a reason for that. It's because it's really easy for you to see that pattern there. Whereas if I go across the strings, it's much harder to see it. But if I played it along 1 string, and then I played it across the strings, you can hear the notes and the sound is exactly the same. But going along the string, you can really see sort of how it's built. Now, that is the major scale. That's what it is. Now, if I started on a C note, say I started on this C down here at the 3rd fret on the A string, and I followed that exact pattern, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone, I now have a C major scale. And if I started it on an F somewhere on the guitar and followed that pattern, then I would have an F major scale. So that's really how we get the different major scales. It's just by beginning that tone semitone formula, starting on each of the 12 notes that there are in music, and that gives us 12 possible major scales. There's 12 total possible major scales which we can have. A couple of questions which you may be thinking. Can we change the order of any of these tones and semitones? Can we say I'm going to go tone, 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 semitone? No, we can't. The minute we do that, it's not a major scale anymore. It will become a different major scale. Maybe a scale you've heard of, like the Mixolydian mode or natural minor or something. But for the major scale, the pattern of tones and semitones has to stay constant. So that's pretty much what the major scale is. And it's good to know about it because it has enormous influence on things like keys and melodies, which you might use it for if you were composing a song, or if you were improvising a solo over some chords in the key of G major, then you could use the notes in the G major scale and they would fit perfectly. So we can look at this in a bit more detail, and of course the book covers it in more detail too, so you can check that out by clicking the link below if you really want to understand how this works. But that's a pretty bite-sized introduction to the major scale and what it is. So now you maybe understand it on a slightly deeper level than just a fingering pattern. You know, just to recap, that it's when we start on any note and we follow a pattern of tones and semitones, which is tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. You can think of it as 2 tones and a semitone, 3 tones and a semitone. So next time someone asks you what the major scale is, you'll be able to give them a great answer. Okay, now click the link to check out the book below. Really covers the major scale in like chapter 3 or something. Asks you some questions on it too, so you can sort of check your understanding. And then it builds on that into talking about what chords are and basic intervals and keys, and shows you how to analyze and understand and write chord sequences. So this kind of knowledge is very useful if you want to write your own songs, work out your own music. Anyway, that's all from me today. I really hope that you found this little lesson useful. So check out the book below. Have a great day. Play around with this, see if you can put it to work on your guitar, and I'll see you next time.